Yeah, where's my good morning, everyone. Welcome. Welcome.
If you're not the speaker, please keep yourself muted.
Okay, let me see. I'm just gonna have my camera on very briefly. Good morning. I think most of you know my face, having interacted with me previously, and also during our recent mentorship sessions. So welcome to this, our Candidacy Readiness program. I see that many of you have already logged in, and we're happy to see that so many of you managed to get on. I'm sure there's still a few that are trying to log in, so we were just wanting to give an opportunity to others to join us. I see that Zinhle is in the waiting room there, Angelique. Let's see. And unfortunately, there were a few, maybe two or so, who will not be able to join us. I know one is writing an exam today, and we've got 2 people who are hospitalized this week. But it looks like we've got most of you in. Okay, so for maximizing the internet signal, I'm going to switch off my camera during the most part of this presentation. So I'm going to do that right now. Over there, okay. Right. So thank you everyone for making time for this session, and we are going to be very brief. We may even finish before the time that we had planned. Our intention is to finish by 12 o'clock, but we will see to what extent we can finish before that. Right now, first thing is, we all know what a qualification is. We know the pathway towards gaining a qualification. But guys, this is different. This is completely different. This is something else. And to be successful on this journey, particularly on gaining a professional designation, it's very, very important that you pay attention to what we're going to cover today, so that you fully understand what it entails, and how it differs from the conventional writing of an exam and submission of a POE for assessments. So we're going to make sure that we bring that clarity, and also give you a chance to ask any additional questions that you might have along the way. So what are we going to cover today? We are going to be looking at the following items. We'll give you a little bit about ASDSA, just for those who don't know the organization and what we're about. We will then explain the candidacy program to you, what professionalism is. We'll go into some extent of detail there. We will make a clear distinction between professional designations versus qualifications, not in terms of the value that they carry, or the you know, the yes, the importance, but rather in terms of how they differ in the way that you acquire them, and what they each mean in our lives. And then the process of how to gain a designation we'll explain, and we'll talk about the way forward and the planning and what is the road that lies ahead. Okay, so who is the ASDSA? The Association for Skills Development in South Africa. First of all, my name is Jonathan Brawns, in case you missed it. I am a director of the ASDSA. I'm one of the directors, and I am going to be your mentor on this journey. Okay, I'm also accompanied by Andy in this workshop. He will be moderating for us. He's also a director, and also Angelique is going to be assisting us. She is our admin person, and she's, she's the person who provides us with all the back office support and the systems support in ASDSA. She's also with us today to assist us. So ASDSA is a professional body registered with SAQA, and there's the registration ID. We are one of 100 and I think it's about 108 professional bodies that are registered with SAQA. The ASDSA is one of them. And the professional designations that we have are all registered with SAQA. Okay, so that's who we are. We're a Section 21 company, and the organization has been around since 2001. I think most people in the skills development environment are familiar with the organization. And I think with most of you, you have actually engaged with us when we ran the previous project for the LG CETA. The vision of the organization is very clear. We seek to establish and to maintain the credibility of the skills development profession. And that within the context of what we know happens in our country, the stigmas attached to some of the CETAs and all of those things. So the ASDSA's vision is to establish and to maintain the credibility of the profession. Okay, so that's just a little bit about the ASDSA. Now, what is this candidacy program? The ASDSA has been awarded discretionary grants by the CETA, by LG CETA, to implement the project. And of course, the intention is to bring professionalization to the municipal SDFs. And with that whole vision of establishing and maintaining the credibility of skills development, we bring this candidacy program to yourselves as SDFs. What it entails, it's about the professionalization of skills development. We want the local government sector to become aware and to realize and to experience professionalism when it comes to the people that drive, manage and run skills development within the sector. Okay, so, and what that professionalization entails, it's made up of, firstly, becoming a member of the professional body. And so as part of this project, you have been awarded a professional body membership, and I think you should have received your certificates by now. If you haven't received your certificate, your membership certificate yet, then it should be on its way, but you could send an email to the info@asdsa.org.za to find out. But you should have a membership certificate by now. And that's the first step in the professionalization journey, is that you become a member of the professional body and you have a certificate to prove it. The second part of it is gaining a professional designation. And that's the journey that we're on at the moment, where you're going to be receiving mentorship support and putting together a portfolio which will be evaluated for you to be able to gain your professional designation. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And then the third component is the continuous professional development journey, the CPD. in terms of which you are required to accumulate 30 points per year to be able to maintain your professional designation. So for you to continue to have your designation, number one, your membership must be valid. And number two, you must gain your 30 CPD points per year. There'll be a lot more said about CPD and how to accumulate your points so that you can meet the requirement every year. What is this journey that we're going to be taking you on this candidacy program? The registration part is done. You've done your self-evaluations. Every one of you have done it. And we've moved past that point. We've also had your mentorship session where we discussed the self-evaluation with you. I think there's just about 2 people left who were unfortunately not well this past week that we still need to have the mentorship discussion with, but otherwise everyone else is done and we've passed that stage. So that comes accompanied with the mentorship support. Then today we are having this session. We're giving you an orientation into this whole candidacy journey, and at the end of today we would want to leave you clear in your mind as to what is this thing that I have committed myself to, what are the implications, what does it mean, how does it differ from what I've been used to all along, and where to from here, what's the next step. Okay, so that's the readiness program. Now, immediately after this, and I've mentioned this to you guys during the mentorship, we are going to have a POE building workshop. And that workshop is going to be focused on the portfolio itself, how to put the portfolio together, and a lot of other detail, the submission process and so on. That's the next workshop that's coming up, and we'll talk about that a bit later. Okay, so on this journey, after that workshop, we are going to have the POE completion planning. Now, that's an individual session that I'm going to schedule with you. I've also explained that to you during the mentorship, where we will sit with you individually and work out your own action plan and the schedule of how you're going to complete, how you're going to compile your POE, and so that you can get it ready by a certain date for submission. So that planning is going to happen as an individual session after the POE building workshop. Okay, then you compile the POE, you complete it, you put it together, and you submit it for evaluation. Okay, all along that time, there's mentorship support. So we will be scheduling a number of individual sessions so that I can assist you along the way. Okay, then the evaluator gives you feedback. Now, you've either been found compliant, you meet the requirements for your designation, or there are some weaknesses. The mentorship is intended to eliminate that risk as far as possible, but there may be some areas where the evaluator says you need to strengthen some of your evidence that you've submitted, or a more suitable example or whatever. And so if you are not meeting the requirement, there will be remediation provided. And then there's the verification that will take place once all the evaluations have been done, and then the awarding of the designations. So that's the full journey that you're going to be embarking on in this project. Okay, and then once you have the designation, you then get onto that CPD process, which is an ongoing thing. And this is one of the fundamental areas where the designation differs from the qualification, is that you have to remain plugged in, and you have an ongoing responsibility of accumulating the CPD points in order to retain your professional designation.
Jonathan, Matt, come in for a moment?
Sure.
Hi everyone, my name is Andy. As Jonathan, I think, has previously introduced me. Just a couple of comments here from my side. So I chair the certification committee as one of my responsibilities at ASDSA. So the route that Jonathan has described is completely accurate. You'll see that there are two role players that you're going to be familiar with. One is your evaluator, who will be responsible for looking at your portfolio, giving you feedback, helping you put additional information that may be needed if there is remediation needed. Secondly, there's a verifier. The verifier does a very similar job to what you are familiar with from a moderator, in that they look at what work has been done by the evaluator and they give them feedback. And then the last people working on this will be the certification committee, who are responsible for reviewing the recommendation from the evaluator and the verifier, and they make the final call about the awarding of the designation. So that's the one thing I wanted to say. Second thing I wanted to say is that, in fact, you have membership of the ASDSA for 3 years, not for 1 year. Okay. So that's quite a long time, and it covers the costs for renewing your membership and renewing your designation for 3 years. The third thing I wanted to say to you is that you'll see that part of our program are these CPD and ongoing development workshops. And you will find that if you attend those workshops, you should be able to accumulate enough CPD points to meet the CPD requirements for the year, for this current year. So please put them in your diary when you see them, because they're going to make, they'll make your life a lot easier. Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to say to you, this isn't intended to be a very dry presentation. So please, if you have questions, please raise them. Either raise your hand and then I will bring them to Jonathan's attention. Or it may be even easier, put them into the chat box and then I will bring them to Jonathan at a convenient time when he's maybe finished a section and moving on to a new one. So please do engage with us throughout the session. I think it'll be worth your while. Yeah. That's me. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's very valuable. I must say that the workshops that are coming are going to cover very, very critical topics. You know, for example, just to give you an idea, we're going to have a workshop that focuses on professionalism, and we're going to go in depth into that topic of professionalism, particularly in the context of skills development. We're also going to have another workshop that goes into the whole CPD. You know, to give you an in-depth understanding of the CPD process and the accumulation of CPD points. And then there'll be other topics that we're going to cover. I think we have a total of approximately 6 such workshops that will be held, you know, over the next few months. So very, very informative, intended to capacitate, and it's all part of the journey of professionalism or building professionalism within the sector. Okay, so on that note, I would like to perhaps pause a little bit and find out if there are any questions of clarity at this stage on what we've covered so far. Otherwise, if a question comes up, you can post it in the chat, and then Andy will read it to us, or you can raise it a little bit later.
I see no hands, Jonathan, and nothing in the chat, so I think you're good to go ahead.
Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. So then on my next slide, what I'd like us to do now, I'd like to have some engagement, and I'd like to really encourage you guys, SDFs, please, you know, work with us. Let us unpack what is our understanding of professionalism. What is professionalism, especially within the context of skills development? What is professionalism? I mean, if you were to describe it and, you know, make a few points about what your understanding is. What would you say? So what I'd like to do now is I'm going to ask that are they able to unmute themselves, Angelique?
Yes, everybody will be able to unmute themselves.
Okay, because I'd like you to unmute yourself. Either you unmute yourself, or you can just, you know, put something in the chat. But tell us, and I'd like to capture some points coming from yourselves here. Are you still seeing my screen, Angelique?
Yes.
Okay, Andy, thank you. I'd like to, yeah, because I want to capture some points from the floor now. And I mean, you guys, SDFs, you are accustomed to participating in workshops. I know I've been to your SDF forum meetings. So please feel free, help us. What is professionalism? How does a person behave if we call them professional, or, you know, let's hear. What are your thoughts? What is professionalism?
Good morning. Can I please come in, Jonathan?
Please, please. Who's speaking now?
Speaking is Mbali Mthuno from Upongolo Municipality. Hi.
Okay, talk to us.
Well, my understanding of professionalism, it will speak to the competency that a person has acquired, also the skills expected in that field of the professionalism that you are in. So since we guys are the skills development facilitators, it will speak to our skills and also the competences in the field that we are in. Okay, great.
Thank you, Mbali. More thoughts? Let's have free flow, guys.
Jonathan, this is Lauren May from Cape Agulhas Municipality.
Hi, Lauren.
For me, professionalism is really about your ethical behavior, not just in your workplace, but outside as well, and how you conduct yourself in a manner that in terms of your workplace, that you will be judged in an appropriate manner by external stakeholders.
Okay, so in other words, the image that you project.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay. The image that you project. Okay. Thank you for that. What else? Anyone else? What is professionalism? I'm sure there are 1,000 things that come to your mind. Let's hear you. Mpumalanga, what is professionalism? KZN, Mbali is KZN, that's fine.
From Jonathan from Gaynor saying, competence and skill expected of a professional.
What and skill?
Competence and skill.
Competence and skill. Competence and skill. Okay, all right, it's already there on the screen. Competencies are there, skills are there. What else?
Jonathan, Lauren again, adhering also to your code of conducts.
Okay,
that would be a guideline for you.
Okay, to a code of conduct. Yes, but let's be practical. Let's to the detail. Doing things like what? I mean, conduct is broad. What do you do on a daily basis? And what is professionalism in those things that you do on a daily basis as a skills professional?
Jonathan from Gendre, to be productive, confident, and have a positive attitude.
Okay, to be productive, sorry, what am I doing?
In the middle of one of your bullet points, eh?
Okay. Be productive, skills.
Confident and have a positive attitude.
Sorry, I messed up here. Be productive. confident.
Yeah, to be productive, confident, and have a positive attitude.
Okay, I think I'll put confident here.
And have a positive attitude. And then also from genre to maintain focus and be ethical.
Okay, ethical is good. Ethical is there to maintain focus. Right, let's say maintain focus. Okay.
And
good.
Then Beryl has the skill, good judgment of a person who's trained to do the job well.
The skill,
comma, good judgment of a person who's trained to do the job well.
okay, let's put it here.
Which is very nice, you know, because when I think if I'm dealing with the professional, I'm actually keen to be dealing with the person, not just the person who's just graduated, but the person who's got a few years of experience behind them. And I really know that they have judgment and they've done this thing quite a lot. That for me is a nice hallmark of a professional.
Okay, sorry, the wording, good judgment.
Good judgment of a person who is trained to do a job well. Good judgment of a person who is trained to do a job well.
Good judgment of a person.
And
trained.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
great.
from Lauren again, punctuality and respect.
Punctuality and respect.
And then from Gaynor, integrity, respect, emotional intelligence.
Okay, wow. We are unpacking this concept of professionalism, and that is within the context of a skills professional. Okay, so the list could go on and on and on. I wanted to hear a little bit from the Mpumalanga colleagues. I'm sure there's a view from that side. Are you guys there? Okay, let's park that thought. Okay, so that's what we mean by professionalism. Now, what we'd like to do here is to say there are these two aspects, and that's why we've intentionally put in these two blocks. Here we have conduct or behavior. How does a professional carry themselves? And this one, okay, there we have some background noise.
I've muted Jonathan. I've muted her.
Thanks, Angelique. Performance. Okay, so this one has to do with things that describe your behavior, your conduct. How do you, what image do you project? Very, very well put. And then this one is about how well do you do your job? How do you perform? Okay, so these are two aspects of professionalism that are very, very important to look at when talking about whether someone is a professional or not. I mean, here we could add a number of other things on the behavior side.
One more from Zuzipe saying communication style, brackets, verbal and non-verbal.
Okay. Communication style.
brackets verbal and non-verbal.
And non-verbal. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Why is it telling me spelling errors here? Communication. Okay. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, you know, the list can go on, and it does actually. It does go on. Think about not honoring appointments. Think about, I mean, I've had my fair share of experiences even during trying to set up appointments for the mentorship sessions. And what you guys must understand as well is that, you know, right from the outset, from the point where people were identified, the registration process, and everything that follows, the conduct of people, the behavior of people on the program is also part of the professionalism journey. And so you make an appointment, you don't honor it, it's a blemish on your professional image. You know, you know, with the working from home, you think about the whole arrangement of working from home because of COVID, and think about professionalism in relation to that, and the many things that could be considered to be unprofessional. You know, things that are done by people who are working from home. So there's a whole lot of things that we could list there. But just to summarize, and I mean, let's move on. I'm just going to go back to my slideshow view. If we look at it in, and you think about the things that you guys have listed there, professionalism is about ethical behavior. Someone mentioned the word integrity. There's a whole basket of words that work hand in hand in this regard. Then very, very high quality standards of the work that you do. I've sat in some of the SDF workshops, and I've listened and seen and heard how some of the quality standards of the work that SDF submits to LGCTA is questionable, you know, and there's room for improvement. So it's about what is best practice out there, and how well do you measure up against best practice? What are the standards that are being set in the sector, in the space? Or are you able to set high standards and be that best practice for others? You know, that others can benchmark against. Meeting internal and external expectations. We can have long conversations about this one in the municipality. You have got, for example, your communities who have certain expectations, right? Services need to be delivered. And there are people that need to have the skills to deliver those services. So that is what makes the role of an SDF so strategic and critical. And that is what makes professionalism even more important in the execution of that role. And internally, you deal with supply chain, you work with finance, you've got your bosses upwards, you've got your peers, you've got your juniors that are looking to you. And what is professionalism within the context of that internal environment? The ethics, the respect, the integrity, the honesty, reliability, commitment, trust, and all of those things. And then building stakeholder confidence. Now that is, those are your communities. Again, stakeholders are internal and external. You've got a stakeholder in the form of National Treasury, right? You've got a stakeholder in the form of COCTA, SALGA. Then you've got the communities, of course, who expect certain things from the municipality. But as the skills unit, you also have your various departments who are your internal stakeholders. What is their level of confidence in you and as a result of your professionalism or lack thereof? Okay, some serious stuff to think about. What does the true professional look like? We know that when you applied for the job, there was a requirement for certain qualifications. And I mean, we even know about National Treasury and the minimum competency compliance for certain officials in the municipality. Those are the formal qualifications. For this designation application, there is a qualification, minimum qualification requirement. So the formal qualification is critical. It's very important. But what is it that distinguishes a graduate from a true professional? Is it the qualification that makes that distinction? I can tell you, and I mean we all know this. There are very unprofessional graduates, people with I mean academic qualifications, but behaving in a very unprofessional manner, right? So that is evidence that it is not the qualification that brings about professionalism. It's not the qualification. The true professional is created through the wealth of informal learning, the social learning that happens, and the informal learning that happens through the world of work. The process of embarking on this candidacy journey is part of adding to the learning that sits beneath the surface here. And so if you look at this iceberg, we see the little piece, the qualifications at the top. We see that. We see someone flashing. And people are very fond of saying, I have a PhD. I've done my thesis. I've got my doctorate and I'm Dr. So-and-so. We see that. We see that. But the wealth of capacity and competence lies beneath the surface. It's what that doctor gains by going to the surgery every day, experiencing, testing, trying, and actually doing the work, and successfully doing the work with positive outcomes. I mean, the question that asked is, who would you like to see when if you happen one day to be lying in a hospital and the doctor is going to do an operation on you? Would you like to have a graduate fresh from university who flashes the degree and says, you know what, I'm going to operate on you. Here's my PhD. I've never operated on anyone in my life before, but here's my PhD. I mean, you know, it's a no-brainer. So I don't want to see that PhD that's above the surface. I want to know about the wealth of experience that this doctor has in doing a similar operation on other people. But guess what? With success. I want to know that those people are alive. Otherwise, I'm going to press the red button and call for another doctor to come. So the reality is that we want to recognize the power of all of this learning that happens, you know, in the world of work. And that is only gained through experience. Now, the focus of the candidacy program and the evaluation of your portfolio for a designation the focus is on that wealth of experience that you've gained over the years. I've seen during the mentorship, and I mean, you guys have shared with me how long you've been working in the municipality, how long you've been doing work in the skills environment. It goes without say that in all that time, you have been learning. And that's the wealth of experience that we want to draw out, and for you to come and provide evidence to say, this is what I've learned, I've done this, I've experienced it, these were the results I achieved, here's the evidence to prove that I was doing those things. So that is the full makeup of a true professional. It's the qualification, which is a small component that's easy to flash, but it is a combination of that, plus the social learning and the informal learning that has been accumulated over the years. So let's now look at number 4. What is the distinction between a designation and a qualification? And I must emphasize again, we are not talking about which one is more important than the other one. You know, the last thing we would want to do is to shoot qualifications down, because qualifications are very, very, very critical. They're part and parcel of this journey. But it's important for us to see the difference between the two, and where the emphasis of the one is and where the emphasis of the other is. So as a starting point, we need to change the paradigm when looking at a designation, because I mean, we've been in skills. I've been involved in skills development since the year 2000 when CETA started. And I think most of you are aware that I worked for the wholesale and retail CETA for about 10 years. So I've been on the skills journey. I've been at the Deloitte skills unit and so on. I've seen it from a CETA perspective. I've seen it in a corporate environment, in a consulting environment. And what we've been accustomed to over all those years is that we know learnerships, we know skills programs, we know apprenticeships and internships. You know, we understand what a portfolio is for someone to be able to be given the credits. We know those things, and those are that's the paradigm that's sort of embedded in our minds, right? Here we're embarking on a journey that needs us to change that mindset so that we can see the difference in the kind of portfolio that we need to put together. With the qualification, the focus is on theoretical knowledge and its application. So you study theory, you learn how to apply the theory, right? In some cases, they give you a practicum a situation, or you get an assignment that you must do, and so on, to test your ability to apply that theory, right? You're then going to sit in an exam room and write an exam. And you are going to either that, or you're going to submit something that's going to be assessed or marked, right? So that's the way in which the qualification is acquired. Your knowledge is tested. Your understanding of how to apply that knowledge is tested. You get the qualification once. If you got a degree in 1970, you have never needed to do anything else to maintain that degree. You've got it for life, right? So you achieve it once, and that's it. That's the end of the journey. You can stop the thinking process. I mean, we used to laugh when asking each other, can you still remember the biology, the content of the subject of biology or business economics, or whatever it was that you did in matric? Can you still remember the content? If you were to be given a paper today, would you pass it? And the reality is there is no need for you to remember it, because you will never ever be retested in order to retain that certificate. it's yours for life. It's yours for life. And so you'll find that people walk around with certificates and they are unable to execute because they have not retained much of that theory that they passed 20 years ago or 10 years ago. When it comes to the designation, the focus is on the evaluation of work experience. So if we look at it from a skills development perspective, it resembles an RPL. It's the recognition of prior learning that was achieved through the world of work. Now, we had a Professor Merlin Mel, who was the chairperson of the board of the Wholesale and Retail CETA back then. Some people might recognize his name. He was very prominent in skills development. In fact, he used to do presentations at the skills conferences with the minister at the time. It was Mr. Membati Simdladlana, for those of you that know him. Professor Merlin Mel was fond of saying, and I'll always remember him for that, he's late now. He used to always say that the biggest production of knowledge is the workplace. The workplace is a knowledge factory, he used to say. And so the learning, most of the learning in your life is going to happen in the workplace, not in the classroom. And so the designation is a kind of an RPL that recognizes the learning that you have accumulated in the workplace through doing, right? And it looks at that learning, and it also looks at the impact that you've had. What result have you achieved during the process of doing that work and accumulating that learning? Okay, so it's gathering work experiences to demonstrate competence against broad competency descriptions. When you went into the link, remember the link that you had in order to do the self-evaluation. The link gave you access to the 3 designations that you could go and click and read the competencies for each designation. And then you made a choice. You chose the one that you chose, right? So the designation journey is about looking at your experiences and comparing them with the competencies that are stipulated in the designation that you're applying for. This is why it was important for you to do the self-evaluation and for us to have the conversation to be sure that you have selected the correct designation. And incidentally, it does so happen that one of the candidates has realized that they actually selected the wrong designation, that they actually should have had chosen a different one. But those competencies are critical because you're going to match your experience. The examples that you're going to choose to use are going to have to be linked or matched with the competency descriptions in the designation. Okay, uses hard to prove natural occurring evidence. In that iceberg that I showed you earlier, where 70% of the learning happens beneath the surface and it's not visible to the eye above the level of the water. The designation process looks at that evidence, and it occurs naturally in the process of doing your work. You are naturally learning all the time. Oftentimes you don't have any way of proving that this learning has taken place, and yet it's there. So the designation as a process of looking at that learning, and getting you to think of ways of proving that the learning did take place. Okay, showing consistent good conduct and performance over a number of years. Earlier we were talking about, you guys were giving us what constitutes professionalism, and we categorized them. conduct on the one hand, performance on the other hand. So it's about being consistent. It's about being consistent. Having good conduct today is not enough. It's got to be every day. Performing well today is not enough. We can't talk about our excellent performance in 2014, but today we've dropped the ball and we are no longer performing as we should. It has to be consistent, right? So this is where the difference comes in with the designation. You know, where is the expectation for you to demonstrate the consistent knowledge, you know, that you proved. You prove that you have this knowledge and you understand its application. You do that once. There is no requirement for you to consistently prove that on the road that lies ahead. There's a difference here. There's a difference. There's a need for consistency. So we will work towards being honest. And the day we are honest, completely honest and ethical, right? On that day, we can stop being honest from that point onwards. It doesn't work like that. I think that's a no-brainer. Okay. So it's the consistency of good conduct and performance over a number of years, and then you must remain up to date in order to keep your designation. So the CPD process, which requires you to accumulate points, is intended to have you plugged in to your environment, to your skills environment, to be participating in workshops, to attend seminars and talks, and also for yourself to give talks and present on topics, you know, because those are the ways in which you keep updated, you remain informed with the latest developments and new developments in the field that you're involved in. If legislation changes, there are sessions that are held to unpack and explain that legislation, or certain guidelines that come from National Treasury, they call them practice notes, you know, and all of those kind of things. So the reality is that there is no such requirement with the qualification. You are not required to accumulate points in order to maintain your qualification. This is different, guys, and that's, you know, that's what I was saying earlier. And I said, this is completely different, and it's important for you to understand those differences. So the maintenance part is very, very critical. The other element of the maintenance is that to have your designation, remember I was saying you must have a valid membership. And the membership has got an annually renewable membership fee. Now, Andy has given you the good news. Your membership in the project, your membership with ASDSA has been paid by LG-CETA for 3 years. So you have got a valid membership certificate, which will be renewed every January. Angelique will cause the system to send you a new membership certificate every year. So you've got your first one now, you'll have another one and another one.
Sorry, Jonathan, just to interrupt you there, the membership certificate is valid for 3 years. We don't send it out every year now because we've made it valid for 3 years.
Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Angelique. Okay, so you've got your membership for 3 years. The certificate is valid for 3 years. Your payments have been made for 3 years, right? So that's rock solid in place. Now, with the qualification, there is no such requirement for you to have a valid membership anywhere, right? You have the qualification, it's in the bag and it's yours. And so this is a completely different, ball game. What I'd like to mention here is that, you know, we've been involved in skills, some of us for many years, since the establishment of CETAs. There was never the opportunity that the ASDSA presents, where people in a skills development profession, like trainers, assessors, moderators, skills development officers, SDFs in municipalities, primary, secondary SDFs. Then you've got your HR managers, or your who's the person that you also report to. In some municipalities it differs, but people at management level, in other words. There was no opportunity for us in this skills development field to have a professional designation behind our name in the same way that a chartered accountant in the accounting field could work towards, or a person could work towards. A person would start as a bookkeeper, go on to become an accountant, and then, you know, register with SICA or SIPA, one of the professional bodies, and work towards a professional designation. And one day you see there's the person's name with CA at the end, which means the world in the world of work. Excuse the pun. But you're applying for a job and they ask, listen, what do you have? I've got this qualification. Okay, what else do you have? No, I'm a chartered accountant. Oh, wow. Okay. Now, what did we have in the skills environment to flash? And guess what? The designation brings that to you. It brings that credibility to you. And that plugs into the vision of the ASDSA. We want to create and we want to maintain the credibility of skills development. And who is skills development? We are, right? So, you know, you can proudly put your designation behind your name on your signatures and so on once you have acquired it. And it does something, you know, whether you're talking about the image that you project to the stakeholders that you work with, or whether you end up in a situation where you're looking for a job one day, or you are, you know, going after a promotion or whatever. There are only positive spin-offs from acquiring the designation, and that is the value that this the designation brings you. Okay, we have spoken many times in different discussions about the fact that people walk around with their qualifications and they are struggling to find work. Employers don't want to employ them. The age-old, you don't have the experience. Now, guess what? The designation focuses on that experience component. Okay. Right? A qualification in essence, and remember I was saying we're not shooting qualifications down. We're only showing the difference between the two. The way in which you are tested to get a qualification, you need to have a good memory. It tests your memory capacity, because you've got to SWOT, you've got to memorize theory so that you sit in a 3-hour paper and you must be able to recall all that memory and write it down, right? So it tests your memory capacity. It doesn't matter if that memory fails you after the 3 hours, then it's fine. But you must just be able to retain the information so that you can pass the exam. That's the one component. That's not the only thing. Obviously, there are other very, very good aspects of the qualification, but I'm just, you know, we're just pointing this one out. The application of your skills to demonstrate understanding. So, you know, and I've already covered that. You only have to do it right once, and you're qualified for life, and you don't have to update your knowledge. So this is just a repetition. I've already covered that. So that's really what a qualification looks like within this context. I know that there are many, 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 many positive things that we could unpack about qualifications. You know, they do add value. They are very, very critical. We need qualifications. We have to pursue qualifications. We are just showing you the difference between the qualification and the designation. What does it mean to have a designation? Okay, now one of the things that that happens is that the ASDSA has got a code of conduct that you are required to abide by, and that's one of the requirements. In addition to your professional body membership and your CPD points, the other thing is you must comply with the code of conduct. And so you embody trust, honesty, integrity, the things that you guys were mentioning earlier, right? High quality of work, reliability, and all of those attributes when you are a true professional, right? So that's what a designation, what it means to have a designation. It is almost like an SABS stamp of approval, you know, or an ISO standard. So if somebody, if a product has got an SABS stamp on it, you know for a fact you can trust the quality of that product. If an institution has got an ISO standard, you know that you can trust the quality of the service that they offer, right? And so that is what a designation does to the professional or for the professional. And so you go out into the world of work and you present yourself, and the designation is your stamp of approval. It tells the next person that they can trust that you are trustworthy, you are a person of integrity, you deliver high quality standard of work, you are reliable and committed. You know, it's your stamp of approval. That's what the designation means. And it's based on a proven track record. So when your portfolio is assessed, the evaluator is looking at your track record. And that is why at the end, they can say, this person can be given the designation because they've proven that they embody the honesty, the trust, the integrity, they deliver high quality of work. We can give them that stamp of approval. It's about consistency. It's about keeping up to date with current thinking. So, you know, this is what it means to have a designation. Okay, how do we gain a designation? Now, this is the journey that we have already pointed out to you. The professional body membership, the self-evaluation, which you have already done now. Okay, the POE submission, which is the journey that follows. So we're going to have the POE building workshop. We're going to have the portfolio completion planning session with you. And then you are going to put together the POE and submit it. And then the POE will be evaluated. And so that is the journey that you're going to be on until you have your designation. If there's remediation, of course, it will be part and parcel of the process. Okay, so if you want to be successful on this journey, there are a few things that you're going to have to commit to. Okay, one of them is you absolutely need to now make the candidacy program part of your daily planning. It can't be something that I'll do it if I have time. It can't be a by the way. It has to become part and parcel of your commitments that you intend meeting. You've got to set aside time. We're saying 16 hours as a guide, but you've got to set aside time to complete your portfolio. If you think about it, 16 hours is 2 full days. If you talk about 8-hour days. If you were to set aside 2 days, 2 full days from the morning to the afternoon, working flat out, the likelihood is that you would end on the end of the second day, you would have your first draft of your POE. But we don't have the luxury of sitting for 2 full days, so you can spread your hours. Don't limit yourself. This is just a guide, but you need at least that amount of time. Probably need more if you're going to struggle to search for your evidence, your documents that you're gonna use. Okay, and then you're going to have to set up meetings, at least 5 meetings with the mentor. Now, I'm going to be your mentor on this journey. We've already started. So we've had your first meeting already. But we're going to have to set up a number of meetings so that I can offer you the support all the way, all along the way. Okay. I've highlighted this last point because it's very important for you to make a note of it in the meantime. We are looking at the 14th of June. In fact, we've scheduled the 14th of June for the POE building workshop, but we will be sending out the notifications within the next few days. And the invitations, the registration links, and so on. We'll send that out. Okay, finally, what is the way forward? And then we can have some engagement after this slide. So the way forward is we start with the POE building workshop. We're emphasizing this because we really want you to schedule it. This is absolutely critical. In this workshop, we are going to go through the competencies in the designations. We're going to go through the portfolio workbook. We're going to look at, we're going to make examples of the kind of things that you can use, to support your portfolio. I was the project manager for a whatever, we're going to talk about specific kinds of examples. We're going to talk about the specific types of documents that you can use as supporting evidence. We're going to talk about what kind of documents do not constitute evidence, and so on. It's a very important workshop, this one. If you're going to miss that workshop, you're going to make your life very, very difficult in gaining your designation, because it's going to be your opportunity to ask questions of clarity and make sure that you have a full understanding. So please prioritize this one. It's also going to be not longer than 2 hours. And it's really, really, really important that you attend. Okay, so after that, there will be the POE completion planning. Now, what I'm thinking of is during the course of next week, I will be contacting you guys, just to start making appointments for the individual mentorship. But the individual mentorship sessions will take place after the 14th. We want to start scheduling them next week so that we know that you've committed yourself to a time, and you start preparing for that session. So this session is where I'm going to sit with you with your own individual portfolio and say, having heard the detail at the POE building workshop, I think I'm going to use this project as an example for my first competency. This is the project. This was my role. This is what I did. This was the outcome of that. This is the document that I'd like to attach as evidence. And then we're going to discuss that, right? And I'm going to be able to give you guidance. All right. And then, okay, now tell me your second example. And we're going to go through all of them. We're going to do that kind of detailed discussion. Plus, we're going to work out an action plan for yourself. So you're going to say, okay, step 1, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it by that date. This evidence I'm going to search for. I'm going to have it by that date, and so on. And you're going to have your own scheduled activities, which we can then discuss when we have subsequent mentorship sessions to see how well you're doing. It's also going to be a good guideline to help you focus. Remember, the word focus came up earlier. And so that's going to be a very, very detailed, personalized POE completion plan that we developed. Okay, so then you're going to develop your POE, and I'm going to support you. So we'll have more individual sessions. During the planning, we'll agree how frequently would you like us to have those planning sessions, right? And we are looking at the submission of the POE. The target is mid to end July. We are of the view that, and we've done quite serious thinking, you know, on the practical issues. For example, you've got your financial year end coming up at the end of June. You've just come out of the whole WSP thing, so the CETA's approval of the WSP is probably coming up soon, and you're going to have to start kicking into action with the implementation of that plan, and all other kinds of work commitments. Guess what? Those commitments are not going to go away. So there's a need for some serious time planning here, right? But we anticipate that you should be ready by mid to end July with your POE submission. Okay, and then the evaluations will follow. So, you know, if you can make a special note of this, in fact, I would even advise you to make a screenshot or take a picture with your phone, because this is an important one to just bear in mind on the journey that lies ahead. Okay, so I'm going to pause here. In fact, I'm going to stop here because I'm done with my presentation. But what I'd like now is to have some engagement, because hopefully you've got some questions that you'd like to ask. We are here to assist you with that. And secondly, we'd like to also hear from you. What are you still struggling with? With the links. Now, there's a few links. There is the link that was sent to you to register for this workshop. There were some struggles with that link, and we'd like to hear what those struggles are, right? Then there is another link which gives you access to your folders on the Zoho system. I know that there are some struggles with that link as well, and we'd like to hear about those. Perhaps I could quickly help you with that. And then the third thing I want to mention here is that we are finding that there are some communication, not communication, but there are some challenges with technology. Now, when we spoke about a professional, a true professional, one of the attributes of a true professional is that you must engage with technology. You've got to realize that we are in the 4th industrial revolution, right? The world of work is predominantly going to be happening remotely. And you're going to need to be, you know, comfortable with and committed to using your emails, your WhatsApp, and the kind of tools that empower you to do the work that you need to do, because the work that you need to do involves contact with people, whether it's the people that must be trained, the people that you report to, the people with whom you are studying. Maybe some of you are busy studying. And then this candidacy journey. I mean, on this journey, you are really going to struggle if you're not effectively using, especially WhatsApp, the emails, and the Zoho link that I was talking about earlier. So we'd like to hear from you about your struggles, you know, in relation to these things, so that we can see how best to assist. Okay, so Andy is going to help me with the moderating here. Andy, do you see anything in the chat at this stage?
Not as yet. Just a question from Billy. I did not get the Zoho link, and Angelique is saying, please check your spam folder. Sometimes these messages get treated as spam by the systems.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was a common problem I found. Some people, even my emails to them, my emails ended up in the spam or the junk mailbox. So I think another thing that we need to create an awareness of, you know, and it's all part of the professionalism journey as a norm, especially if you know that you're expecting correspondence or emails from somewhere. If the emails are not coming through, you should just, you know, by default, go and check in the junk mailbox and see whether your server didn't send it there. And then, of course, it would be useful if each of you can go to your IT department and ask them to whitelist the websites that you are going to be engaging with, and also find out from them why is it sending certain emails, like my email. Why does it send my email to the junk mail? Your IT should be able to solve that problem. Okay, questions on the presentation, any aspect of the presentation, questions about the candidacy program, questions about anything that you're not sure of? Now is your opportunity.
Jonathan?
Yes.
Can I kindly request that you send us through an email the recording of this session, please?
Okay, Mbali, Angelique will be doing that. Angelique, how will they access the recording? Are you gonna send them a link?
I will send it on the WhatsApp group.
Okay, there you have it, Mbali. Thank you. You will have a link in the WhatsApp group, and you click on that link and it will take you to the recording.
Sorry to disturb you, Jonathan. It's Vuyani here.
Hi, Vuyani.
I'm not on any social media. I don't have WhatsApp. Can it please be sent on email too, if it's possible?
Yes. Okay. Angelique, is it possible we will send the link to Vuyani on email?
Yes, Jonathan.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, Vuyani, just on that note, you know, I think that's one of the things that perhaps you should give some thought to. And I know we had the chat during the mentorship, but it's something that you should give some thought to, especially you know, when it relates to the professional world of work. I know that social media is a nuisance at a social level, because, you know, it just floods people's lives and all of that. But when the tool is to be used for a purpose such as this, then you perhaps would want to, you know, think about making use of it. I remember a time when Facebook was gaining momentum, and everybody started frowning on this Facebook because it was just taking over people's lives, and it was wasting people's productive time. But when the same tool can be used productively, then it becomes a different ballgame.
No, I understand, Jonathan. I'll think about it. Okay, I'll think about it. let me rather say I'll download it, then I'll just use it for the purposes of completing the thingy, what you call it, the course.
It will just make it easier, Vuyani. And also, I think, you know, the big thing is that the WhatsApp group provides us with a perfect way of posting information at one point for everybody to access at the same time. You know, think about the meeting link. Now, you know, the sending of emails, the email goes to one, it doesn't reach the other one, and the server blocks the email or those kind of things. Whereas on the WhatsApp group, everybody sees it immediately, nothing blocks it. And you know, you just touch on the link and you can register for the meeting. So I was actually quite impressed when, you know, I got the call from Lefela, and he was asking for some help with the link to register for the meeting. But while we were on the phone, he then touched on the link in his WhatsApp, in the group. He touched on the link and he was immediately able to register with ease. So I think that's what we appreciate about, you know, the WhatsApp group. But equally important is for each person to monitor their emails. Now, it goes without saying that you are a professional, you are involved in a strategic role of skills development. There is no way that you will be effective at your job if you don't keep an eye on your emails, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
That one is a given. It's a no-brainer. So
now for the purpose of making things easier, I'll download it. Who should I request? Who should I send the request to be added to the group?
What you can do once you've downloaded your WhatsApp, just let me know, and I'll ask Angelique, or I can also add you. I'm also an administrator on the group. Between myself and Angelique, we'll just add you, Vuyani.
No, I'll do it then. Okay, thanks, sir.
Sure. Great stuff. Thank you, man. Thank you for understanding. Okay, any questions? We're concerned that the purpose of this workshop is to give you clarity on this candidacy journey, and to create that awareness of how unique it is and how uniquely different it is to qualifications. So it's your opportunity to ask for any further clarification, unless the presentation was so good that you fully understand it now. Okay, so
I think people are good, Jonathan. I think let's just ask people to do the workshop feedback questionnaire. Angelique, if you can post that link into the chat box, please. And I'll ask everybody if you'll please click on that link and then respond. Thanks.
okay, so there is a survey in the chat right now. Go to the chat box, click on that survey link, and if you can please just give us your feedback on this workshop. If anyone is struggling with that, just speak, tell us now so that we can help you. Okay, it's a quick survey. It will take you just a few minutes and then it should be done. So I think we'll just hang while people do that in case someone is struggling, Andy.
Okay.
Okay, so while that's happening, let me say thank you very much. Thank you guys for attending this session. Thank you for making the time. We are on this professionalism journey together now. So let's hold hands. I must say, up to now, overall, there has been quite good cooperation and support from the candidates. And I think we can only gain momentum and build it from here. So we are looking forward to you having your designation certificate in your hands later this year. And we're going to do everything that we can to support you and help you to achieve it. So thank you very much for your attendance today. And we really will appreciate your feedback in that survey. Please be as honest as you can be, because we'd like to look at where the areas are that we can improve. Okay, Andy, any parting thought from your side?
No, I'm all done, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Angelique, are the surveys coming in?
Hi, Jonathan.
Hi.
Yes, it's Gladys.
Oh, hi, Gladys.
Yes, I just make a comment on the workshop.
Okay.
Yes, the workshop was so informative and much more relevant to what we are doing at workplace. On my side, I can say I enjoyed maybe listening to your presentation, and I'm looking forward to do my POE and gain more experience to get that designation that you were talking about.
Wow.
Thank you, Jim.
So
Well
that's
done.
nice to hear, Gladys. I hope you put that into that that feedback survey, please.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Gladys. Thank you. You did fill in. Did you fill in the survey, Gladys? Okay, she's muted now. Angelique, are you still with us?
Yes, Jonathan, not everybody has filled in the survey.
Not yet. Okay, maybe they're still completing some of them.
Did you receive mine, Jonathan? Is Gladys again?
Gladys, Angelique, you have Gladys as one.
Did you hit submit, Gladys? Because it's not on the form. You
I
actually
couldn't
have
see
to.
the submit. I just wrote something there, but I couldn't see where it says submit.
You couldn't see it.
Hello, Jonathan. Hello.
Yes.
I just want to say, I think it's our network. Ask Gladys to. Sis Gladys, are you on?
Yes.
Hello, Gladys.
Yes,
Listen,
I'm
I think
on.
it's our network because I'm trying to submit too. I think we have to try and use your own network because it's blocking.
Oh my word.
When we try to submit, it blocks the submission.
Oh, I see.
So I'll quickly log on to another network quickly and quickly complete the survey.
Okay. I think it would be
If you get that,
advisable
ladies,
to.
try and use another network like from your phone or.
You will assist me because we are together here.
But you all were in the other office.
Pardon?
I will add the link to the WhatsApp group as well.
Okay.
Oh,
that'll help.
nice, nice. Then you can do it even later. Yeah, but don't wait too long because it must be fresh in your mind.
Yes.
No, I'm actually doing
Okay,
it
so
now.
you'll find the link then in the WhatsApp group, and then you can just do it on your phone.
Thank you. I'll do that on my WhatsApp then.
So that's lovely. Okay, perfect.
Thanks.
I think it's a good idea to go to your IT department and ask them to whitelist the Zoho website.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. The things that we largely going to be using is the Zoho system, and we'll be using Zoom quite a bit and MS Teams. I think with Zoom and MS Teams, you guys are fine. It's just the Zoho platform. Okay, with that, those who have not managed to submit the survey will find it in the WhatsApp group, and you can just click on it and do it on your phone, no problem. So thank you very much, Andy. From my side, that's it. I'm ready to close now. Anything from your side?
I'm all done. Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks,
Done.
everyone.
Okay, Angelique. All covered, Angelique?
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, colleagues. Goodbye. And I will be contacting you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.